Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. I'm Lara Sturm.
And I'm Josh Rohr. Welcome to the episode. So, breaking news. We are introducing the newest Team Roar coach right here, right now. Welcome to the team and to the episode, Daria Fratangeli. Did I say that right?
Yeah, no, you said it right. You're good.
Awesome.
Victory for you for sure.
Nice.
Hi. I guess I would just
So I guess I left you hanging there. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of your background. Why the hell you want to be part of our team as a coach? Like, that's got to take a little bit of courage to work with us.
Oh yeah, you have to have, I think I said earlier today, you have to have some level of crazy to want to, first of all, powerlift, second of all, coach other powerlifters, because then you got to take their crazy on too, and that's a lot. But I'll start with real quick. I graduated this past spring, so pretty young, 23. Graduated this past spring with my bachelor's of exercise science from the University of Pittsburgh. I am repping them right now because I have to. So I got that. 2-3 months later, I moved down here and got my certificate for the USAPL club coaching, and then also my NASM CPT. So that's kind of like a quick educational background. I started powerlifting back in 2019. I realized at a really young age, I was super into fitness, and I couldn't really figure out where I wanted to fall in that. And then I figured out that I just absolutely desire to be the biggest and strongest in the room. Am I the biggest? Absolutely not. In person, I am very small, but in my head, I think I'm way bigger. So that's where it counts. So like I was saying, did that. As I started powerlifting more, I kind of realized I really just liked coaching other people and seeing the look on their face when they're finally able to do stuff that they never really thought they could do. So, like I said, there is a level of crazy. I guess I like that crazy to want to be around it. But yeah, that's just a big quick spiel. And I'm just excited to be here.
Yep. And you are officially taking new clients now through Team Roar.
I am. So if anyone is interested, I would love to coach them. I swear I'm a fun coach, but I will get on you for a little bit of things like form and technicality. So you can't cheat yourself around me, or I will come at you.
I'll come at you hard.
I will. No, I will. Just ask some of the girls that I still coach right now. They'll tell you. They'll tell you that I come for it.
Well, and that's the thing. So that's kind of one thing that, during the whole interview process, stood out to me too, is the detail. So for those listening, I guess when I interviewed the potential coaches, we did basically I lifted and made you correct different things. And you had a whole laundry list of everything I was doing wrong, but you were very deliberate about only addressing one or two things at a time. But I kept telling you, I don't know what you mean, explain it differently, because, especially with online coaching, communication is a big, probably the biggest factor in all that. And I basically just kept telling you, I don't understand what you're saying, and made you say it a completely different way. And you were able to communicate and explain what you were trying to get across. And I think that was a big thing. And I'm running off at the mouth here. I can't remember what led me down this road, but I have nowhere to go at this point. So I'm going to awkwardly end this sentence.
Nice.
Anyway,
that was really awkward.
It was. I love it. But yeah, we're super, super excited to have you on the team. I know we've been kind of booked up pretty full with not being able to really take new people. And that's something I hate. I hate telling people we just don't have any availability, but I'm not going to overextend myself and do a bad job with everybody that I already have by trying to take more people than I can handle. So we're excited you are here, and excited to grow the team.
Yeah, super excited. Like I said, and anyone listening, I'm for real. I have a lot of availability. I'm a lot of fun. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. So we had a couple questions from people on social media land that they wanted us to ask you. So we will start with the first one. And I'll chime in here on this too, because I do have my own spin on this question that I want to answer. But the question is, what, I can't even read right. Were your thoughts on 80s music part of the interview process?
Wait, what?
When you, yeah. So the answer is no, I didn't mention it. And I'll answer this question for you. Okay.
Okay.
So as you know, or don't know, I am a huge 80s music fan. Actually, everything 80s. So the question was, did that come into the interview process? And the answer is no, I did not ask you about 80s music because deep down, I really felt like you would say you don't like 80s music. So basically I was judging you.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I don't like it. I would just say I am far too young to be familiar enough with it, and I'm
So is
just
Josh. It's okay.
yeah.
I
He just looks
appreciate that.
older.
No, I mean I'm not. Well,
It's the beard.
no,
It's the beard.
I'm not calling you old, but just saying.
But math doesn't lie. You're old. Well, so here's what I was getting at. So basically, I went under a couple assumptions.
Okay.
I went under the assumption that you did not like 80s music,
Okay.
which is a red flag for me.
Okay.
So basically, you came into the interview with already strike one, without really me even knowing the answer. So long story short, like you overcame that obstacle with your actual coaching ability and the way you communicated. So I'm going to add an additional part to this question. I also didn't ask you about football because I knew you went to the University of Pittsburgh and I'm a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. So my other assumption, which I found out was true later on, was you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So that again was strike two in my head without actually asking you the questions. So needless to say, I was very, very tough on the interview on you. So
there is
good thing there wasn't a strike three.
Yeah, congratulations, you made it through the minefield.
Good thing I didn't have the Rooney Jr. or what is it? It says like Rooney Road, and it's a little picture. It's over there. It wasn't behind me, but thank God it wasn't.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, all right. Question number 2. Where did the Instagram account name Jacked Sewer Rat come from?
I had a really bad feeling that was going to be a question. It's not a bad answer, but it does sound a little it sounds a little bit odd. There's like kind of like two origins. I'll start with the first half, jacked. I just thought it's a funny word. I think the word jacked is hilarious. Like I like to say I'm jacked because when you see me in person, I absolutely don't look that way. Quite small. So I think it's funny, a little ironic. The sewer rat part comes from, like I had just said, two origins. One of which, I don't know which one I want to start with. They're both equally bad. But the first one is I make this little joke that there's a small little rat that runs on a wheel inside of my head, and I don't have a brain, and that's what makes my decisions and drives my decisions.
That sounds so familiar to me.
Saying it out loud, yeah, I'm like, ooh, okay. So that's the first origin. The second one is I have been told on multiple occasions if I was to be any animal, they think I'd be a New York City like sewer rat. Don't know why, but it was between that or like a cat. They're like, you're either a rat or like a cat. So that's kind of where that came from.
I'm not sure I would take that second part as a compliment, actually.
No, it's not, but it's like it's really kind of funny to me because I'm like, because I could kind of see where they're coming from. Like I can see where they're coming from, and it sounds really bad, but like if you know me on a personal level, it would make a lot more sense. And it might make a lot of sense after you get to know me a little bit, but I promise that doesn't impact how I am as a coach.
Can't wait.
For sure. It's fun. If you notice my what is that thing called? Discord? I made my profile picture, this picture of me deadlifting that I edited, and I have lasers coming out of my eyes.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
like it.
Proof.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions that we had from social media land. I didn't get around to posting it earlier, so it was only a couple hours today. So anyway, I think those are good icebreaker questions to get to know you a little bit. But I do want to reiterate that you are taking clients. So anybody out there listening, any of our hey, I think we're up to 3 listeners now.
No
So
way.
any of you 3 out there interested in getting 100% customized coaching and programming, hit us up.
From someone whose brain is ran by a rat.
Is ran by a rat wheel in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the joke I used to, well, a version of that. I used to make a joke when people would ask like, why are they doing this in their programming? I would just say, well, I spun the wheel on my wall and that's what it landed on today. Obviously not being serious, but when you said the wheel, that's like the first thing I thought of. So that's scary similarity.
Takes it out of the hopper.
Yeah.
Well, or I also picture just Josh, sitting back with, how can I make this painful?
Yes. The Godfather.
Yeah.
I'm doing on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah, forget about like well thought out programming. I just, what can, what makes you the most miserable? That's how we roll, right? No.
And it just has this weird side effect that you get stronger along the way.
Yeah. That's I guess I should also point out that that's sarcasm because most people can't tell when I'm being serious and when I'm making a joke. So anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, so you actually have a point to your programming then? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. I feel so much
there's
better
an end goal.
You what?
Said, believe it or not, there is an end goal here.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Hey, so here's another question from me. Are you a Seinfeld fan? Do you know what Seinfeld is?
I know what Seinfeld is, but I'm like trying to think of, I think I've seen like a few episodes, but
oh, man.
I wouldn't call myself a fan.
I think that would have been that would have been strike 3.
I'm glad I didn't think of that before. And
I have so many other redeeming qualities. It's so much fun. My top 5, Shrek's in there. That's redeeming.
Oh yeah, we're getting to that. We'll get to that in a minute.
So, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have an opportunity to state your case on that one.
Thank God. I can't wait.
Got it. So before we get to that, we are going to kind of go through our Arnold preview real quick. So those of you that are listening, the Arnold does kick off this weekend. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lifters competing. I had to count them off the top of my head or off the sheet because I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. Anyway, Friday morning kicks off with Gretchen Patsios. She's lifting at 9 a.m. Eastern time. She's competing in the Masters of Iron Pro Bench. She is the current American record holder in the M2s, and she's going to attempt to break her own American record there. So that'll be fun. Session 2 kicks off at 11 a.m. That's the full power, and we got Alicia Webb and Joe House. Joe is looking to hit PRs in all 3, I believe. His bench might not quite be there, but squat and deadlift, I definitely think he's good for a PR. And side note, the dude's either 70 or 71 years old.
Wow.
So still getting stronger and pretty impressive. And then we got Lee. She just got done lifting at the Georgia State meet. She was she actually broke the American records in the raw and equipped division in the Masters 2 at the Georgia State meet. Basically just doing her kind of mock meet day. So we didn't actually go all out. So she's lifting, kind of expecting some big stuff out of her. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's exciting. And then session 3 on Friday, we got 4 lifters lifting equipped, Stacy Metcalf, Katie Dodge, Amy Pancake, and Chris Elmore. All of them I think are going to do some big things as well. Katie Dodge is actually moving down to the 90 kilo class. So looking to put up a big total there. Saturday, James Vang, one of our other coaches, is lifting at the Grand Prix on the main stage. That kicks off at 4 p.m. So anybody that wants to watch that, you can actually watch all of the lifting at USApowerlifting.com/live. with the exception of the Grand Prix and the squat challenge and some of the other main stage. So if you want to watch James, you actually have to, that's a pay-per-view through the Arnold Classic itself. So you actually have to pay to watch that. But James is looking to do some pretty crazy stuff. He's chasing kind of all-time totals at 148. He's looking at Caleb Williams' total, who we're very familiar with. He's also Dan Austin had one of the top totals all time in that weight class, and a couple other totals they're kind of tiered that we're kind of looking at, and he's climbing the ranks there. So pretty excited to see him lift, and we're actually, knock on wood, hoping we have a legit shot to win that first place overall in the Grand Prix and bring home the big money. So that'll be pretty exciting. Sunday morning, session 1 in the Raw Challenge, Allison Garden's lifting. She's one of, that sounded hillbilly. Allison Garden is lifting. She's one of our lifters from South Carolina, 48 kilo lifter. She's looking to do some big stuff. And then Amy Pancake is lifting again Sunday at 10 a.m. in the squat challenge. Basically, it's Laura, you're all too familiar with that. Basically, it's you rep your double your body weight for as many as you can, and winner gets $700. So I think she's got a pretty good shot at it. Looking at the roster, like it's going to be competitive. Like that's what it could be like. So there's only 3 women in the whole event, and she could win or she could get third. Like it's going to be one of those close competitions. I think it's going to be fun. So,
wow. So no heavyweight and lightweight.
No, they combined it all this year because there was only 3 lifters that signed up. So normally it's lightweight, heavyweight, but winner take all this time.
Very nice.
So
YOLO, just gonna
YOLO,
rep it out.
So I went back and watched the year. What year did you do that, Laura?
I want to say 2019.
19. I think it was either 18 or 19. I can't remember. But I went back and watched the live stream of it because somebody brought up that I had to carry you off the platform. So I went back and watched it.
Literally.
I want to make a meme out of it because it's really funny.
Yes, you should definitely do that.
Like the first thought that comes to my mind is like caption what I'm thinking. And the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I told you I was hungry. Let's go.
We're going now.
We're going now.
I just remember racking that bar and being like, I am in so much pain. I cannot move.
Because you're literally like hanging on the bar, like looking at me. I'm like, just come off the stage. And you're like, I can't. Can't
walk, coach.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Memories. Yeah, fond memories.
Yeah.
And like Daria said, you have to be slightly crazy to do this.
Yeah. Especially something like that. Like at least with normal powerlifting, it's 1 rep. But
I'm still mad I didn't go into the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I know.
Boy. Oh well.
Anyway. Well, all right. Let's move on to top 5 movie soundtracks. We are going to start revealing everybody's number 5 this week. Next week we number 4, etc. And then we'll actually have the tournament. People can vote. Winner gets a $50 worth of Team Roar apparel. So most votes for your top 5 list. But let's start it off.
First one is Pulp Fiction, which was suggested by Amber Riley. All Quentin Tarantino movies have good songs, but this one established mood and tone with bangers like "Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon" and "Jungle Boogie." Sure.
I have a confession to make. I have only seen Pulp. No, I haven't seen it until fairly recently, and I've only seen it once. But I did not think about that movie as one of my soundtracks, but it probably should have been because that is actually a pretty good soundtrack. So I have to. Hey, we have 3 of us. We can give referee lights. What do you give to that? Thumb up or down?
What if I've never seen Pulp Fiction?
What?
Wow.
I wasn't very much of like a movie person, I guess, as a kid. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of movies.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, you probably don't know these songs that was mentioned either. Then, so
Mm.
well, it's funny. Amber's is younger than you, so Amber's one of our lifters. She's down in
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah.
She's younger than you, and she knows this. So
Okay. My parents did not culture me. They just said, we don't really watch movies in this house. And I said, okay. And then I just went outside and played all the time. So I was outside doing stuff.
So in all fairness, I would have not seen this movie if it weren't for my wife. So like, and then yeah. So I guess I can judge you now because I've seen it. But
I'm
if this
judging
was,
you.
if this would have been like 2 years ago, then you'd be judging both of us, Laura. Or you're still judging me, I guess.
I still am. Yeah.
I deserve it. It's fine.
All right. Our next top 5 is Dawn Dotson, and she put the Godfather trilogy. Very unique, powerful, and haunting was her reasoning. So I guess we'll let that one go. I don't know that you can put the whole trilogy down as one of your, I don't know, official ruling, Laura.
I think you have to choose a movie.
So we're gonna say
One, two, or three. Let us know, please.
Okay. All right. So Don, we are gonna have to ask for clarification. You're gonna need to limit that to one. Otherwise, we are going to put a big blank spot on your number 5 when we do the tournament, because we can.
We're making up the rules as we go. That's what
Of
happened.
course. Yeah.
All right. So the next one is from Justin Little, which is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Based on the battle scenes and the emotional roller coaster of the finale, the greatest trilogy ever. It pretty much is. Howard Shore made that film come to life.
Valid.
I don't remember the music. I'm sure it was epic.
I have never seen any of the Lord of the Rings. Daria, what do you got? Daria's got something to say.
No, I think I fell asleep in the first half of the first one. I can't.
That's what happened to me. No,
I just
for
like
real.
I couldn't pay attention. It was just too boring for me. I just felt like no. I just no. It wasn't
So
about
here,
it.
I do have another confession to make that is probably gonna
make me judge you.
Yes. So it took me a long time to get into Star Wars because of that reason. I fell asleep in the first episode. So I started with episode 4, which was the actual first one that came out, right?
Yes.
And I fell asleep in like the first 30 minutes, like 3 or 4 different times. But let me redeem myself here. Let me redeem myself. And this was fairly recently too, because I had never seen any of them. But my wife's like, you gotta just freaking pay attention. Like, pay attention. So what she ended up doing then was she started me with Rogue One, which was like right before episode 4 in the timeline. And that was so action packed. It got me so interested in it. Then I was able to like I went 4, 5, 6. Then we went 1, 2, 3, and basically I'm all caught up now and love them. Like, they are awesome. And it is embarrassing for me to say that I fell asleep a couple times, but I did. But I am now a very enthusiastic Star Wars fan. So I think I maybe redeemed myself.
Is episode 4 the one where they're like, it starts out and they're like in like the middle of like Mars or like a desert or something like that?
I do not know.
I don't know. That was the one that I was watching, and then I didn't pay attention, and then I just never tried again. And I never tried again after that.
So I will say this: it gets way better. So like if you can like get through the first 30 minutes, because it starts out kind of slow in episode 4.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's very good.
No, I want to for sure.
Or you can go like I did, start with Rogue One, because it's super.
I've been told there's a specific like a specific like sequence you should do to like actually get hooked, and I think that's what you did.
Yeah, well, so a lot of people. So what I did is not what most people. Not what most people say. I think most people say watch them in the order they came out. And some people say start with like episode 1 and go in chronological order, not the order that the movies came out. I did it kind of a mix of that. I started with like the new movie Rogue One, which is action packed, and then went to 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3, then 7, 8, 9, and then there was another couple in there. Anyway, the people listening to this that are like Star Wars fans are probably just like cringing right now at this conversation.
But I mean, yes, but to be fair, like they didn't come out in like the timeline chronological order either. So like what you did, I feel like still works, because they were like, let me just put out one movie that's actually at this timeline, but then another movie is actually like 20 years prior. So
yeah,
I think that's how it is. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's something like that. Anyway, all right. So I don't know how we got there. Oh, we went to Star Wars because of Lord of the Rings. So that was a big sidestep there. Our next number 5 soundtrack is from Amy Hutchinson, and she has Garden State. And her reasoning is that she has no good reason. It was just the second soundtrack next to Gone that popped into her head. So I'm assuming Gone is one of her higher up on the list movie soundtracks. So
Not familiar with that one.
Nope.
me either.
Sorry, Amy.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, go.
Next
go,
one.
Laura.
Stacey Metcalf had Lost Boys. Great movie and a lot of hits on the soundtrack. I have to agree with her. I am sad that this one was not on my radar.
I don't know this movie, and she didn't mention any specifics of the artist or song, so I have no.
But are you an 80s fan?
Yes.
Are you though?
Don't even.
Are you? You don't even know the soundtrack. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right. Well, I will have to watch that and find out, or at least research it. Because clearly I haven't researched anything. Our next number 5, Suraj Saeed, Encanto, and his reasoning is we don't talk about Bruno. I'm assuming that is something.
What that means.
I'm assuming that's
a reference to the
movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I don't know if it's because I forget or if it's because so many people have told me to watch it that I've decided I will not be until people stop telling me to. Don't know which one it is. But there's like a song that says like we don't talk about Bruno. I guess a lot of people like that song. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's a great movie with a really good soundtrack. So like very family friendly.
All right. Well, we'll go with it.
Our next one is Amy Pancakes had Amy Pancakes. She's only one pancake. Amy Pancake. She had Heavy Metal, and her reasoning was Devo, Sammy Hagar. Enough said,
Agreed.
basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I skipped her, didn't I? I was supposed to read her name. I skipped her.
It's okay. I got you, Josh. Gotcha.
So yes, and that also there's a song called Heavy Metal from man, I'm drawing a blank. This is bad. I should it's on most of my meat playlists. I can't even think of the artist, but so it's a great song. And it's on that soundtrack.
I can hear the song. I can't think of who it is now either.
Do do
but
do 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 do.
It's a great soundtrack.
Do 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 do
So,
do.
thumbs up to Amy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
All right. Chris Peterson has Belly. I never heard of that, but his reasoning is DMX acting and rapping in his own movie. Love every bit of it. Rest in peace.
That's fair. I don't even know the movie, but I think that he's right.
Yeah. I don't know the movie either, but I can't argue that.
Right.
So
the next one is from Cameron Barlow. I can't. Sorry.
Cameron Barlow.
Yes, I just butchered it. I'm sorry, Cameron.
Sorry, Cam.
He had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Notice how we said Volume 1.
Yeah.
Very well
specific.
played.
Yes.
Because there is a Volume 2 and a Volume 3.
Yes.
I love this album.
Yep. It is very good. I'm a little upset that I didn't have that in my list either. Or maybe I do. Maybe I do. I don't. It is a great soundtrack. I give that one 2 thumbs up for sure.
Yes.
Jimmy Battenfield has Pure Country. And he says George Strait kind of speaks for itself. So I don't know this song, or I don't know this movie, but I love George Strait. I am also a country music fan, so I can't argue if it's got a lot of George Strait in it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it, but would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Josh Rohr, I feel like you should do your own.
All right, my number 5 is Iron Eagle. It is a poor man's Top Gun. It's about flying fighter jets and 80s movie, but it has a great soundtrack. And the movie itself I enjoy too. It's pretty good, but it has Queen. One Vision is the song from Queen that's on there, and I love that song. There is a song called Road of the Gypsy by Adrenaline, which is one of my top 5 hype songs on my Meat playlist that I talked about before. That's where I first heard the song, was watching this movie. And there's a whole list of songs. It's Too Late by Helix is another great song that I love. And there's a whole bunch of others that are pretty good 80s songs, but I'm not going to go through the whole list. So that's my argument for that. The soundtrack, I was going to say the soundtrack's better than the movie, but most people are going to think both of them suck, if I'm being honest. But I love both of them. So the movie and the soundtrack. So
Like I said, I never saw Iron Eagle.
you should watch it. Oh, they have Iron Eagle. So, okay. They definitely, this is one of those that the sequels, plural, don't waste your time on those. So like they had Iron Eagle 2, which was not good. Iron Eagle 3 was garbage. And I think there was even an Iron Eagle 4, but I've never seen it because I just assumed it's went downhill. Maybe there's not a 4, but there's definitely a 2 and a 3 in there.
It was a franchise.
Yeah. All right, Daria, what do you got?
I put Shrek for my number 5. Granted, I thought of a lot of good ones after doing that. Like I could have put even like Bohemian Rhapsody on there. Did I? No. Did Shrek take the cake? Yeah. I've stood by this statement for like years. I really couldn't tell you why I think Shrek has a great soundtrack. It's just, I think I literally wrote that it just makes me want to dance for like 3 days straight. Every time I hear the songs that are on, like there's just so many good songs. Like they have like Hallelujah. They have like, I can't think of the names right now because obviously when I'm put on the spot, I totally forget everything. But they have so many good songs. The ending is great. They're at a wedding. They're singing, donkey singing. They're dancing. He falls in love with the dragon. It's perfect. It's just a good one.
So I can't think of any of the music from Shrek. That is a movie I have seen. I will have to go back and watch it again and pay attention to the music. But yeah, I'm a big fan of dancing. So
no, it's a good one. There's a lot of just good dancing music and like very timeless songs in there. So there's another one like I think it's Maybe I'm in Love or whatever. I don't know if that's the name, but people would know what I was talking about if they heard me say that. So that one's good.
So I'm looking at Laura's face and I'm reading your mind. You're laughing and saying you're a fan of your version of what you call dancing. Is that correct?
You're just interpreting nothing. I said nothing. I wasn't even thinking that actually. You have such a good time when you're dancing, Josh. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I do.
Usually there's a little bit of booze involved that loosens it up.
Sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it
not
just
always,
happens.
Yeah. Doesn't need to.
Yeah.
All right. So my top 5. My 5th one is the album Vision Quest from the movie named Vision Quest. This actually made one of my top 5 my top 5 albums of the 80s. And I love it for a soundtrack just because it's like the quintessential 80s soundtrack where like in the 80s we were like, I don't know, it was like we were a little bit more innocent, a little bit more naive, but like anytime there was like, it was a training, like they're training, this kid's a wrestler, he's going to do something hard. Like in the 80s, whenever that happened in one of those movies, it would just kind of like flash to like music. And they're like, time
Like
lapse of them
montage.
doing things. Yeah, montage of them
Yeah.
doing things, and they're like high-fiving and getting shit done. And this album to me, like, just is quintessential 80s. I mean,
Oh my
it,
gosh. I
what
made a huge error in my list, and it just occurred to me.
I know,
Did
it
you not
should
put
have been
Rocky
like
IV?
Footloose or something.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
But you just did.
I
So
am
you could fix your list, Josh, because
I'm not
I
going
haven't
to do
announced
that.
it yet.
I know. So after all said and done, I will give like my huge error that I made, but I'm going to keep that to myself for right
It
now
was a
because
quintessential 80s movie that had that type of soundtrack that didn't make it in, huh?
I'm
yeah.
telling you,
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Do
I
you?
had a few like that too.
I have
like
a feeling. I have a feeling.
All right, what do you think it
Footloose,
is?
Pretty
I feel like
Woman.
it's Rocky IV. I feel like you just didn't put Rocky IV in.
It is Rocky 4. It's Rocky 4. Wow.
See,
I know things sometimes.
Get
but
out
the
of my
80s just
get
had
out of
like
my spinning
this.
rat wheel.
it
It actually,
was,
yeah, it's working.
it was a thing. It was a genre. The soundtrack. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
But
Well, when you
Vision
said
Quest to me,
montage,
Yeah,
you said
that
montage.
yes,
that's what made me think of it.
montage. But they're training hard, they're getting shit done. But there's everything from Journey to Dio and John Waite on that, and it's so 80s and so good.
So, all right, I'm sold. I gotta watch that because
Lunatic Fringe also on that.
no, are you serious?
Yes, it is.
Red Rider, also one of my
Exactly.
all-time.
I
like,
know. I'm telling you, it's a really good soundtrack.
Man,
Not
I think
available on Apple.
all right,
Music,
I'm just gonna say this right now. I should lose in round 1, and I will actually. This is not a reverse psychology strategy, but if people vote for me against anybody, I think I'm going to be disappointed because I'm disappointed in myself. And I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, Josh, that's kind of sad. It just made me
It
sad.
really is. It made me. How do you think I feel?
All right. So we're going to move on to the powerlifting situation. So you can just, be okay with yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You're coaching a lifter that's going to time out on his second squat. You notice another coach in the flight handling 3 equipped lifters back to back while waiting for the second attempt to be loaded. You mentioned to the coach's assistant that you are timing out. You also ask them if they'd like us to turn in a larger number to time out a third attempt in order to break their lifters up a bit, giving them a little bit more time to wrap their knees. Mid-sentence, the coach turns to you and yells, "Get the hell out of here. We don't need your help." What do you do?
All right. So Daria, I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you do?
Okay, so what I'm what I'm getting is that basically I'm at a meet and I'm trying to help another coach because they got too many people that they're trying to handle and they're about to time out and they just get mad at me. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. So we are timing out our lifter.
Okay.
So we can either turn in we already turned in a second attempt. So we can turn in a 0 for the third and basically just take them out completely, which would make everybody's time, they would be up sooner, not have as much rest time. But what we're offering to do is put in a higher third attempt to time out on so that we actually are going in between 2 of their lifters so they have more time to wrap knees. And the other coach says, "Get the hell out of here. We don't need your help."
Well, I think that personally, for a second, I won't lie, for a second, my brain would say, screw them, don't help them. But I would probably still put something in that was going to be able to break up their 2 lifters because more than likely they probably just snapped at me because they were stressed out, because I'm sure that I would probably actually say something the same way or do something the same way if I was super stressed out like that. So I would just put a number in, and then if they still don't really care, then whatever, but at least you knew you did something good or trying to do something good. So
I like that answer. That was pretty much going to be what I was going to say. I think in the moment when things are so stressful, like normal, what you feel is talking is actually yelling, and it can be taken out of context. So yeah, I think some people would probably be offended by that and probably be like, well, screw them. I'm going to turn into 0 and screw their lifters because I don't care. I don't think that's ever the answer. I think, one, that's just going to make it harder on the lifters. That doesn't actually, if you're trying to get back at the coach for yelling at you, like that doesn't actually do anything to the coach. It just, hurts the lifters. So yeah, I agree. I would still turn in a third. I don't know if I would actually pick a number to separate them or not, because I don't know if that actually is what they would want or not. So I would just probably repeat what we timed out with on a second. And I will say too, like people listening to this, like that's not very normal that happens. So don't, if you're planning to coach at a meet or lift at a meet, like that's very rare. Like don't expect to be yelled at a meet, I guess is what I'm saying. This is a very unique situation where things were very hectic and intense. And, I think I think there's a little bit of, I guess, forgiveness that can go into that. So I don't know. I agree with your answer. Laura, what do you think?
Well, my question is, I know you had a lifter that timed his second and third squats out in the last meet. Did this actually happen? And
this may or may not be a real situation. Yeah.
Yeah. And was it a coach that I know?
I don't want to get into details, but yes.
Oh, that's funny.
It was awfully specific.
Yeah, so a lot of, in all fairness, like a lot of these situations are things that I have come across over time, or somebody else brings to my attention that it happened. And it's really not to point fingers. It's really just to bring awareness of like certain situations. And like, I know a lot of the comments are going to be like, F that guy, turn in a 0 and screw him and things like that. And I guess part of the reason I did actually post this is because personally, I don't think that's the right answer. In the moment, like, is that your knee jerk reaction when somebody does that? Yeah, probably. But what actually does that help? It doesn't help anybody. I don't know. I don't know. I think these are interesting scenarios because so many people would, react to that and just let it escalate instead of realizing the actual complexity of the situation. Because if the roles were reversed and I felt like the coach was trying to talk to my assistant coach and was distracting them or, taking away from their ability to get my lifters ready, I would be very adamant about get the hell away from me too. Not in an angry way or not in a, meaning to be disrespectful, but I think it can come off that way. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting to bring up.
Interesting real world situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would not worry about doing math. I would probably just turn in something.
Yeah.
I think you're right not to do a 0 still, but
yeah. And ultimately that's what we did. We just repeated our second attempt because they didn't give us a specific number that they wanted us to put in. So I'm not going to do the math for them.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. So,
yep. There you go. All right. So here we have a new lifter tip.
Thanks for bringing up the fact that it was a real situation.
It just sounded oddly specific and it made me go, I bet I even know who the coach is. Interesting. Yeah. Great. Good stuff. So a new lifter tip. After weigh-ins, double check the scoreboard to make sure you turned in the correct opening attempts in kilograms. Yes, please.
Yep.
So sorry, I'm not going to say agree or disagree. Please double check the scoreboard.
So I will say this is also related to that exact scenario that we just discussed. So with our lifter that timed out a second, third. So basically I had checked all of the openers for session 1 after their weigh-ins, all the openers for session 2, all the openers for session 3. We only had 2 lifters in session 4. I'm like, yeah, they got it. And this lifter of ours, we typed out the openers and somehow upped their opener by 15 kilos from what it was supposed to be. So we warmed up based on the original opener that we gave them. Basically took like a from last warm up to opening attempt was like it was something like a 40 kilo jump. Because it wasn't supposed to be that big. And basically he got his opener, but pulled something in his quad when he did that. So that's why we passed our second and third attempt, because he was kind of, didn't want to injure anything worse than it was. So again, a lot of these new lifter tips are situations where I messed up or overlooked something, and it's something that, we want to, it sounds like common sense, but the implications of how big of a issue it can be if you don't double check it is pretty big. So
yeah, I mean, it has happened, and I've shed tears over this one too, where I read I think I read a 3 for a 6, and yeah, boy, there's a big difference.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess you can say I got kind of complacent at that meet, because like, all of our we had like 8 lifters in session 1. They all got it right. I'm like, oh, they're good. We had like 2 or 3 lifters in session 2. They all got it right. Third session, I think we had 7 lifters. They all got it. I'm like, all right, we're on a roll. I don't really need to nitpick this. And in the one time I don't look. So moral of the story, always check.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also say, if possible, know what your opener is in pounds, so that when you do if you're looking at it, you have it in kilos, you have it in pounds, you're like, oh, that's reasonable. Okay. Because an opener shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I can do that. An opener should be something you've got.
Yeah.
So know what it is in pounds, know what it is in kilos, and yeah, go kill it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much all we got. Daria, anything you want to add for the good of the cause?
I have availability.
That's right.
Nice.
So if you are interested in getting coached by Team Roar, you can go to teamroar.com and click on the Get Started button. There is also a link in our Instagram bio, the Team Roar Instagram and the PL Ballads podcast Instagram, that has a link to that page. Fill that out, schedule a free consultation, and we'll get you started. Daria is excited to work with you.
I am so excited. It doesn't look like it, but I promise I am.
Yeah. So, all right. That does it for us. We will be back next week with the number 4 movie soundtracks from everybody. Until next week, we'll see you guys later.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.